Hey DIYers, welcome to the DIY with the Chameleon guys.
Hello, DIY Chameleon guys and gals out there. Welcome. This is Bill Strand and James Cross here, and we are going to build something else. James, how you doing over there?
All right, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, I like seeing that sun in the background.
Man, it has just been the best weather. Chameleons are out. I'm just having a blast out here in the garage. Perfect weather for working in the garage. Not too hot, not too cold. Nice and bright.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm so happy is James is north of me, so whatever he's seeing, I get in 1 to 2 days, and so I'm happy about that.
Here we go.
So, all right, James, what do we have on tap for today?
Well, we finished up that cabinet the other day pretty much, but it wasn't completely done. And I kind of wanted to take you into a few steps of maybe using some stuff to make some background. Um, just a way of fancying up your habitat. So I thought maybe we'd do a little spray foam tree, and show you some different techniques that I've come up with, and maybe show you a couple that I've actually done.
Okay.
So what do you think?
I think that's a great idea. I've been using spray foam since 2013, and it has been a great tool. And yeah, I'll just interject as we go along because I've created planter boxes out of this thing, and you can do so many things with it. So I'm excited about this. This is a great tool.
Yeah, it's fun and it's messy, and I even got the kids involved in part of this project. I'll show you right at the end.
Okay.
Uh,
All right.
let-
So how are we going to go about presenting this to our audience?
well, I'm going to try to do it right here, and hopefully, because I don't have my camera crew anymore, kick them out. We're just going to have to wing it, and I'm going to try to do a little project right here in front of you, and then we'll scoot over and do some painting and a couple other little things that I like to do when I'm doing these spray foam projects.
Perfect.
So first, I start out. You know, we've been talking about this great stuff for a long time, and this is what I normally use, but being on the DIY guys and talking to Bill Strand and a few other people, I started playing around with different kinds of spray foams. But I want to show you what this great stuff does. Um, it's not a bad product. The problem that I found with it is that it's very sticky.
Yes.
Um, and so you can't really manipulate it a lot once you've got it going. You have to wait till it's, oops, restart. Got to get another can.
Well, James, how about we just start and say, what is great stuff? Why did Acme Company create this stuff?
It's really a gap filler for around doors and windows and exterior penetrations into a building. It's basically to take up the space that you don't have insulation in, so it air tightens up your house. That was the original intent of it, but boy, we've come up with all kinds of uses for this stuff. I've even seen it used to hold deck posts in place. They have a concrete version of it that's very super strong, and you can put it in the ground.
Wow.
Um, this stuff here is the original that I've been using for probably 10 years, but I've also come up with this other product called Loctite. I like this a lot better. And I just found this out recently trying to get ready for this project. It's not as sticky. It's actually a little bit moldable. It comes out white instead of yellow, which doesn't matter to me because I usually paint my products anyway. Um, but I just like this stuff. But let me show you what the great stuff does.
Okay, let's do this.
Let's put a little over here in the corner. Woo! See that? So she's kind of hard to control. And then when you touch it, boy, it is stickier than
Yeah.
sticky.
Yeah, I don't touch that stuff.
Another thing I like to have around when I'm doing this is my good old friend lacquer thinner. This will clean off your hands. I also use this when I'm caulking. I'll put this on my finger to smooth out my bead. It'll
Okay.
keep that silicone from sticking to your finger. But the nice thing
What is
about it is
that?
when it's called lacquer thinner.
Oh, lacquer there. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Okay? You want to use this in a well-ventilated area, you might get a little woozy. So let's get out the stuff I'm starting to like now. You saw how fast that came out of the can. It
Yep.
expands really
Yep.
fast. It's hard to control. Then I found this product by Loctite. And what I like about it, first of all, it's not sticky. Second of all, what I really, really like about it is it's super easy to control. Oop. See how easy that goes on there?
Yeah.
Super nice and easy.
Now, will
So,
it? How is the expansion compared between great stuff and this Loctite?
so expansion on the spray foam itself, the great stuff, is pretty massive. You can
Yeah.
come back and think that it's almost done, and come back in the morning, it's expanded another half inch. Sometimes it expands too much, and you find yourself carving it back.
Yeah.
What I like about this stuff is it doesn't expand much more than when it comes out of the can. It's not super sticky, and it's a lot easier to control. So let's make a tree.
Okay.
And what I'd like to do with it is I'll build up layers. And I'll start with the outside layer first and work my way up with the tree. Okay? And then what I'll do is come in between those joints and just add a little bit more and fill in those gaps. And now I've actually kind of got the shape of a tree going. And
Yeah.
then I might even put some not even straight lines in it. And then sometimes I'll even do maybe a vine around the tree. And we can paint all of these different colors. And then what you're going to do is sit and wait and let it get to its dry point. It's not going to expand much more than what you see. But the nice thing about it is if you see some spots you want to fill in, make it a little bit more, it'll still bond to itself later after you've already completed. So let's say you just needed a little more here, a little bit more there. You can keep going until you feel comfortable with what you built
Okay.
or what you made.
All
So
right.
that's
Now,
the first part of that. Step one. Okay.
okay. Now, question: how long does the Loctite take to dry till you can manipulate it, and compared to, say, the great? Well, actually, let's go into how long does the great stuff take, and how long does the Loctite take?
Well, the great stuff will take a good hard 24 hours, and there's not much you can do to it once you lay it down. Once it's set up completely, you can go back in, and what I like to use is Mom's old Ginsu. Do you remember these knives?
I do.
Okay, I was appropriately allowed to have these because they no longer served a purpose in the kitchen. Serrated knives work the best. You can use a sharp knife, but you're just not going to get the sawing action that you need, and these Ginsus work great. The great stuff will still sometimes be wet on the inside, whereas the Loctite will completely set up. It's manipulatable in about 4 hours. In about 24 hours, it's completely hardened. The great stuff will be great. And you can actually see right now, this is already starting to get, this is still very wet, and this is already starting to set up. The Loctite's already starting to set up. I'm really starting to like this Loctite.
So, what do you mean by manipulatable?
You can kind of squish and squeeze it and move things around a little bit. It's not dramatic, but you do have the ability to smash it down a little bit.
Okay.
And it won't stick to your hand. Whereas the great stuff, until it's completely set up, you can't really do much with it.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And
know.
if you try, it becomes a mess.
And you end up ripping it out and starting over. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me show you one I got complete over here, Bill. Camera guys.
Yeah.
Boom. Studio 2. Welcome back.
Hey.
Now, this is 24 hours old.
And that looks
Nice and
white, so
hard.
that's the Loctite, right?
Yeah, here's the Loctite. I didn't do the spray, the other stuff, because I'm going to push everybody into the Loctite.
All right.
Okay? Just, you know how I am, Bill. Really liking this stuff. It sets up nice. If you need to carve anything, it carves really easy. You can use your Ginso. You can use a potato peeler to get gougy if you're doing rocks. You can also use a razor knife to carve sections. You can smooth it out. For this purpose, we're just going to do a tree, so I kind of want it rough and barky. But I was noticing that I have some deep holes that I didn't really want in there. So I'm going to show you something else I like to use after the fact. And this is a product called ceramic tile caulk. It's silicone. It's sanded. It comes in colors.
Okay.
And it's basically caulking that you can use inside your habitats. Once it sets up, it's also 100% watertight. And what I'll do with this sometimes is maybe just fill in some of those deep gaps, smooth it out, and it'll just give me a little bit more to play with to help my design look a little more realistic instead of foamy. You can actually put this over the entire surface if you're really feeling froggy, and it will take out all of the holes in the foamy look. Okay, and what's neat about this stuff too is once you're done, it bonds forever, and it's actually paintable.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now that we've done that, I like to put a base coat on. We can use any color we want in any direction we want. Normally, my norm is to make it look more like a natural environment. I did that. I'm going to do that with this one, and I'm also going to show you how I paint leaves on. But with my other one, I let my kids get creative, and they took it in a whole nother direction. And for me, it was very surprising, and I didn't know if I liked it at first, but boy, it changed. It looks like modern art, and
It grew on you?
I really kind of like it. So
all right.
Let's get out my favorite stuff.
Flex Seal? Why are you using Flex Seal with this?
Well, it's a great base coat.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
You
We
got the
just take
spray
our old
stuff.
Flex Seal. We're going to come in here and give it a base coat. This is going to fill up any nooks and crannies, keep the water out of her. And we're just going to seal this puppy right up. Okay, just a little bit of paint here and there. And I'm going to try to get it in all the nooks and crannies. The nice thing about this too is it also kind of mellows it out. Takes away some of the foam look.
Now I'm going to ask a question that some people may be wondering. The background, the piece of wood, looks like plywood that you've got this thing on.
Yeah.
Are they going to stay together, or are you going to magically peel this off?
No, I did this for picture purposes. I usually use this polystyrene. The last project and the one I have in the house that I'm going to show you shortly, I put that on the polystyrene. I think I have a piece of that board sitting right here. I did. There it is. So I do this on the polystyrene, but I put in a request for money from budget, and they told me no. They said no more money for you, Mr. Cross. Use a piece of wood and do the rest of it on the good one. So here's the polystyrene, and this is generally what I put it on top of. It'll bond to this just as good as it bonds to the wood.
Okay.
The wood is just for display purposes, Bill.
All right.
Man, you're difficult. Didn't you get the memo?
I represent the audience, James.
All right. Now we're going to give it a good coat here.
In fact, I often represent the audience, the questions that I think they are asking so well that people write in the comments that, wow, that guy doesn't know anything. He's asking all these questions. You'd think he'd do a
You've
little
come a
research.
long way, mister. I
Say,
might
hey,
even let you
people.
on my job site now.
Oh boy.
All
For
right.
those wondering, I can ask those questions because I've done my research and I know what questions to ask. Ah,
I was going to do a little preview, have this a little bit more ready, but I kind of
nah, this
felt
is
like
good.
it needed to be seen.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we're gonna ask. Wow, you're getting that Flex Seal. It's getting on the background, and so we're all wondering how it's going to turn out.
So there we go. We got a nice coat of Flex Seal on her.
Uh huh.
Okay. Now we're going to go back in and really start turning it into something, huh? So I can't see that. Do another little bit of a move here. Look at all the color.
Wow.
Yeah, I grabbed every color that they had on the shelf at Home Depot. And I decided that I needed some leaf colors and I needed some vine colors. I even got some red just in case we needed something special on there. We did a little bit of the gold. I also have some browns. One of my favorite colors that I got was this guy right here. Guess what color that is?
Coffee, mocha, wild manzanita. Oh, okay.
Ah,
Oh
because you
boy.
know James and his manzanita bushes.
Hey, James, question. From
Sure.
this perspective, it looks like there are areas on that tree that are not coated. Is
Correct.
that because you don't have to do an entire coat, or are those just reflections of light?
A little bit of reflection of light, and I just didn't get it hard. I didn't get really crazy with it. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll tape this whole thing out, and I've got pictures of that you can find on our website later. Um, I will tape and mask all of it out so that I don't get any on the background, but this is mostly for display
Okay.
purposes.
All right.
We don't have the time that it takes me to put this together the way I normally do it, so I'm going to do a fast version of it.
Okay.
And we're just going to come in here now with the color. I don't cover it. I like to just kind of blast it on there and get it in certain spots. And if you know how nature and light works, darker areas are usually behind, lighter areas are on the top. So that's my thought process when I'm putting this stuff on. I don't want to cover it. I just want to get glimpses of color. Okay.
We're having a Bob Ross episode.
It kind of is. It's a James Cross episode.
That's right.
See, now I'm going to go back in and get some of those white spots too. It'll actually help the color pop a little bit more. Did I use the word pop?
You sure did.
Oh my goodness. I am so modern. Okay, so there's one. Now we're seeing. Oops, there's a spot I really want to get. Don't look.
This is a surprise.
A surprise spot.
James is full of surprises.
I'm trying to be sneaky and surprisey.
He's a man of mystery. A DIY man of mystery.
Mystery. Oh, there we go. Now, getting those spots that were bugging Bill.
Well, the suspense is killing us.
I know. All right, let's see what that looks like.
Okay.
We're already starting to look no more foam, and it's actually starting to take some shape here. But I need some brown. I think I need a little dark brown, and then we're going to go with the lighter brown.
Well, what was the first one you did?
First one I did was Flex Seal. The second one I did was the Manzanita. It's kind of a purple brown.
Okay, purple brown.
It's a really weird color, but I really love it.
And so now you're doing a dark brown.
A dark brown.
All right.
And this isn't going to show up much unless you're looking at it where I'm at, but it does give it a little bit more. And as you can see, that black Flex Seal has now almost disappeared. All right, and we're going to go with one more color for my wood. And now I want to highlight. So
Okay.
this is called a nutmeg.
Nutmeg.
Yeah. Cooking with James. Give her a little shake. Now this I want to use as an accent color on the light areas, so I want to do the areas that are going to be exposed to the sun the most. So I'm only going to try to get this on the top spots. And I don't want to get crazy with it because it's so light. That's the other thing I like to do too, is I like to keep my dark bases and I work my way up to light. Don't know why, but it seems to work. Now, let's say you mess up and you're like, oh, it's too much in that spot. You can always go back over it. And even just a light spray will still let both colors shine through. Okay? And we just, within a couple of minutes, made a piece of wood.
Okay.
Huh?
All right.
So that's how we get the tree done.
Well, wait a minute. We got to do leaves.
Man, you're so demanding.
Oh,
All right. There's several different ways I go about doing leaves. One of them is I will take some manila paper and I will cut leaves into it. Okay?
okay.
Just freehanding them. I kind of draw it out with the pen first, and then kind of let my mind go creative. But wait, there's more.
Where'd he go? What's he up to?
What?
What's happening off stage? Hey.
I took some trimmings from my trees and my bushes. We're going to use some of those too. I'll show you how we do that. Where'd you go, Bill?
Oh, I am here.
Okay. First thing I'm going to do is use the darker colors. Remember, we always try to go dark first. So I'm going to do different on each section so we can kind of have an idea of what each one effect has. All right. And I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to go like that, and that didn't work so well. It's got to be a lot closer. So I think we're going to do this here just so we can get a better feel. I'll do one up there so we can get a better feel. Maybe we'll put one on the tree. And then another couple over here in the corner. And maybe a little more here. And then let's add another color to it to make the two pop. And what's cool about this is it's totally random. And if you don't like it, you can paint over it and do it again.
Uh-huh.
So there's no mistakes here. It's really just having fun with it.
Just happy accidents.
And Let's get a little more up here. Okay. Maybe a leaf or two on the bark. Okay. So that's that part. Let's turn that around and give you a look at what is happening there.
Okay.
Is that kind of cool or what?
It's taking shape.
Okay. Now, because I want to have another effect in here just to really mess with you a little bit, we're going to take the actual plant and we're going to, do I have another green? I only think I have the two. And we're going to spray over the top of the plant. And that's going to give us this really different effect. It's not working for me. Well, let's do it on here. This will give you the different effect over on this side. Okay. Let's show you what that does.
Oh, that's interesting.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Now let's get the last part. Now we're going to go over the top of that with our lighter color and the actual stencil that looks like a palm. Bright green. I need the Irish. There it is. I guess I should have left more room for paint. Fronny over here too. And there we have some effects.
Okay.
Now we can get a lot more creative and cleaner with that by taking tape and wrapping it around the edges, filling in the space. We can also make smaller stencils to fit in between the spaces. That will give me a lot clearer. You can see how pronounced this looks when I'm able to lay the stencil flat.
Yep.
And the same thing with the palm fronds. I really like the reverse effect of using the actual leaf and then the stencil over the top of it. It gives it a shadow effect. But we also got to remember too that once this is all done, a lot of this we're barely going to see through our bushes and our plants inside of our enclosures. And that's 101 on foaming and painting.
Okay. Now, how long? What kind of fumes do we got going on here?
Well, I feel real happy right now. You want to do this in a well-ventilated area. There's no doubt about it. You also want to maybe slow down a little bit, take your time, be a little more creative. You can take these pieces of cardboard, and let's say you don't want to get some paint somewhere, but you want to paint the bottom.
Yep.
So you can come in here and do this and create shadows and effects without having to do any damage to what you've already painted. That's a neat little trick that I've learned. The stencils work really awesome. And then, of course, I just use a lot of blue tape sometimes. And like I said, I've got some pictures that we'll be showing that of the whole project taped off for the last one that I did. Let me run you in the house real quick and show you one that's been around for about 6 months. And what I did is my fogging tube came up inside my enclosure. and I didn't want to see it, but I also didn't want it going up the back. So what I did is I turned it into a tree trunk, and
Okay.
out of the top of the tree trunk comes the fog.
Okay. This will be fun.
I don't know what I just videotaped because I couldn't see what was going on inside the
We
case.
got to see the inside. We got to see the fog coming out, and so mission accomplished.
Okay, there's some fogging for some foaming for you, and let me
Well,
show
so
you.
basically, what that is showing us is that if we've got anything in the cage that we'd rather not make
See,
obvious, like a tube, PVC tube, like a plastic pot that look just unnatural, we can
disguise it.
disguise it with foam, and you can carve the foam, you can paint the foam, and like I said, I mean, I had a big thing of foam, and I just carved out a planter box in the foam,
Yep.
and I mean,
Spray it
even
with Flex Seal.
even the plants rooted into the foam.
Yeah, it's really got a lot of uses, and the more you play with it, it starts becoming really fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now let's talk about a little bit about. You ready to talk a little bit about the mechanics of the foam?
Sure.
Okay. So, thing about this foam, like talk about once you start a bottle, are you committed to finishing the bottle or throwing away what you don't use?
Okay, generally speaking, I have been able to save the foam by covering up the tube at the end. The problem is you're going to have to pour some lacquer thinner through your tube. If you take that tube off and just toss it and get a new tube, what's the contents of the inside of the can you still can use. But the bummer is most of the time you end up tossing the can. You saw I had a brand new can.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll buy them from Home Depot and they already seem to be used. So the nice thing about Home Depot is they're pretty good about that. And I'll put the cap back on and take it back and say, hey, this is how I found it. It doesn't work. And they'll give me a new can.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing with the great stuff for those who haven't used it before is that you have this can, aerosolized can. I don't know, is it aerosol, whatever it is.
Yep, it's aerosol.
And once you trigger it, you get this great stuff coming right out that tube, and it goes on where it's gone, where it's going. But that stuff, once it is exposed to air, starts to harden up. And you, with that tube, the exit tube, you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
that thing clogs up real quickly, and so you do not get the opportunity to spray, put your can down, and come back in an hour.
Yeah.
That's just unless you
It's a
know some
commitment.
special tricks, like James has got the lacquer thinner. Uh, you wrap the end of the tube up in Saran wrap and just make it really, really tight. Then you may be able to get done with it. There's still stuff. The stuff in the can is still good. It's just the trigger tube is blocked up, and there's only one trigger tube that comes with a can. So it's one of those things where plan it out and use whatever you want to use, and then you're just be resigned to not using the rest of it unless you have a professional fencing gun.
Right.
Um, and also, I will mention lessons learned. Just because you have more in the can doesn't mean you should use it, because that stuff will expand, and you can create just this huge wart on your background. And it's like, so don't, once you're done, don't be inspired to continue to use it.
And just for giggles, let's take a look at what we sprayed just a few minutes ago.
Okay.
And let's see where it's at. Now it's only been about 15 or 20 minutes, right? Not even that long.
Yeah.
And look, now we're already pliable. I can squish this guy.
Really?
I can make it
If you
into.
do that with the great stuff, I
Well,
think you're
show
gonna.
you that, and then I'm going to get the lacquer thinner out and show you how to clean your hands.
Okay.
So
Because
look,
great.
now I can take those big round balls and I can kind of
Oh, look at that.
shape them into. I'm telling you, Bill, this is the stuff.
I'm gonna try that. Yeah, for everybody, if you are going to be using great stuff, you have another options called Pond and Stone, and it's black, and it's meant for fish ponds, so it's fish safe, and it's black, so you don't have to have it yellow. And sometimes I use the Pond and Stone, and I just leave it like that because it's already a dark color.
So now I've taken a little bit of the roundness and foaminess out of that by just squeezing it, and it will hold the shape.
I gotta tell you, I really am now liking what I'm seeing about this Loctite product. I think that's
So
going to
I
be
can
my new
still feel
favorite
it's
thing to
nice
use.
and dry. It's still wet inside, but the outside now is easily pliable to the touch. Now let's try this. The
Wait, are
great
you
stuff.
getting anything in your fingers doing this?
Completely clean. That's paint.
Okay,
No,
yeah,
nothing.
that's construction hands.
Yeah. Now let's go to the. Well, it's not going to bond. It's not going to stay. And if you notice, the inside is completely soaked. It's still
Yeah, yeah.
super wet, super sticky. It's more like dough.
Okay.
But this stuff, boy, I just really like it. You know, you can manipulate it, make it twist. You can get in here and make knots. All kinds of neat stuff with this.
Was the
So,
Loctite product designed for another use, or is it just this is the characteristics
same
of it?
thing, different company.
Okay.
They came up with their design. I'm sure it's a manufacturing issue as opposed to a. Um,
A design intention.
yeah, I think
Okay.
they can't copy great stuff. So,
Okay.
okay. Well, I got one more thing to show you.
Okay.
And you remember that cage we're working on?
Yeah, I remember that thing.
I didn't get it quite completed, but boy, she's like 99% now. All I've just got to do is get the wiring and the foggers hooked up and that kind of stuff. But we've got the plastic up. We've got the back walls foamed. I put some polycarbonate on the front. I put the polystyrene walls in the back, and
Yeah, you
let
said
my
something
kids.
about modern art, man.
Yeah, I kind of let the kids get a little crazy. Let me
All
pull
right.
this thing out.
That is such a nice cabinet. I gotta tell you.
Now,
Look
you
at
got a
that.
nice reflection because what do I have on front of it?
You have acrylic. Wait, is that the Reptibreeze?
That is the Reptibreeze, my friend.
Okay.
So we took a piece of 1/8 inch acrylic and we literally left the screen on the inside and we put a bead of silicone around the outside edge, and now I have an acrylic door.
So is the silicon attaching the acrylic to the screen or to the side frame?
It's straight to the screen. Huh? Well,
I would not have
you
expected
were
that.
telling me you like to put the bugs on there.
Yeah?
And I was like, I got to figure out a way to do that. So I just when I cut my silicone tip, I did a real needle point and I squirted a small bead all the way around, placed it on top of there, let it set up for a little while, put another bead on the outside, and it's working like a charm.
You're being very accommodating to my little quirks.
We got to work together. I only had one issue with the inside of this thing, Bill.
What's that?
I had no way to hang branches.
What?
Yeah, and
How
I
are you
was
going to solve that?
well, sometimes I'll come up with an idea, and then sometimes I'm like, why should I even reinvent the wheel? So I went online and I started looking around. And I came across this company called Dragon Strand. Ever heard of them?
Yeah, I think I've heard of them. They're in
Yeah,
the chameleon world, right?
I heard they're pretty popular. They make some pretty awesome products. Um, and I was looking through there, and I found these things they called ledges. Dragon
Legends.
Strand ledges.
Dragon Legends.
Ever
I
heard of those?
remember those. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a couple.
Ha! You got the dragon ledges.
And I modified them the crosscut way,
Okay,
the
let's
Fogfather
what's
way
the
here.
modification? Well,
So
I
let me
see that
show
you've got
you.
another layer of something in there, so that adds some thickness.
There's the back side of them.
Okay.
Okay, so on the back, on the inside, what I ended up doing is I put the polystyrene board on the inside instead of the outside.
Uh-huh.
And then I mounted my dragon strand ledges on the outside, and I ran the ledges themselves on the inside. So the space is, instead of being on the outside like they would be on the screen enclosure, they're on the inside. And let me grab that guy. And these are the ledges. These things are
Yep.
just amazing. And so basically what I did is my polystyrene now is on this side instead of against the screen side. Whereas you normally would put this washer against the screen on the inside of the cage. Well, I put it on the outside.
Okay.
These things are awesome. Tell that guy that invented these things, they're who does this?
I will tell him. He will
Man, I'm just
appreciate
super
it.
happy with this product. I think I'm going to buy a bunch more. Anyway, that's where we go. We got our cabinet built. We've got an acrylic front. The bottom, what do you call this, Bill? You've got a name for it.
That's the flip-up service door.
Okay, so my service door still works, but what I decided to do was make it so that I could pop the service door off, and I just put, well, can't do it
That
now.
Velcro?
I put Velcro.
That's great.
So now at night when I want to cover up the bottom and keep the fog in, I just Velcro that piece of polyacrylic to the front of it, and it'll pop right off during the day.
Nice.
We've got our drain inside.
Oh, look at that. It's beautiful.
We've got a fog machine sitting in the back, and we're going to be working on a pull-out slide drawer, which we'll probably just show some pictures of that and put it on our either our Instagram page or on our DIY page.
Okay.
So that's how it works. So
That is beautiful.
Didn't that turn out great? My kids did a fantastic job on that background. What do you think?
I think so.
Huh?
Oh, look at that. All right. Excellent. That is a beautiful setup.
A lot of fun. This is what you can do in your garage. You just got to get in there and do it.
Okay. All right, James. Now we're starting to talk about what we're going to be doing next week. And I would like for us to start in on that massive outdoor it's 4x2x4, right?
Yes.
4x2x4 on wheels, of course, Parsoneye cage.
Super exterior cage.
Yeah, the thing with the pressure treated. I want to go start that next week. So
okay, we can do that. Well, is that because you got Parsons now, or what's going on?
Actually, yes. Actually, it is. I've got Parsons, and it's time. It's time. So I'm going to
what's nice about these giant cages too is you can use them for your Panther. You can use them for anything.
Absolutely.
It's a giant planter box, so it's with wheels. Gosh, you can move them around, and they're just so fun to do. You get a lot of room to be creative.
Now, the only question that's left here, James, is what are you going to put in that cage behind you?
Well, I got a thought. I'm thinking, I don't know. We're going to have to just wait and see what flies in from Madagascar.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Any last words for the people out there?
Just build it.
Try excellent. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone. Have a good week.